Hey, this is your girl, Coach T, and I am back at you with another dynamic episode. So, for those of you who may be stopping by for the first time, thank you so much for coming onto the show. Just listening, tuning in. Those of you guys who have been hanging in there with us, thank you for coming back again. So, I am Coach T. My husband, Coach G, is off for the night, but what we're doing, if you are new here, is we are going through our book, Fed Up, Changed Up Now, what chapter by chapter, okay? And we believe that once you have crossed over a bridge, you should turn around, hold out your hand, help somebody else cross that same bridge that once troubled you. Now, we believe that our lessons are your blessings. We went through some hard things so that you don't have to. So if you pay attention to the stories and do a little soul searching within, I guarantee you're going to have a better outlook on life and a better future, avoiding some of the drama that we had some trouble with. So this week's chapter is called B-List Celebrity, okay? Now, before we even get started, I'm not saying the name. I've been asked by hundreds of people, who is this? Okay? People read the book and they come back, they want to know who this is. And I'm not saying that because I don't want people, well, one of the reasons is I don't want people to get caught up on the who, and then that starts gossip and all of that. But the message is in the story because I don't want people to feel like, oh, I'm going to just date this celebrity and everything is going to be peaches and cream. They are people just like anybody else, okay? And I definitely don't want you, whether you are a man or a woman, to, to look at yourself less than and to take crap off of somebody just because they have a household name. I don't want you to do that. And I will admit, before I get into this story, that I was a little starstruck at first. Okay, I had invited a couple of my female friends over sometimes, and it was great. And they were just all like, man, I can't believe you know him and all this and this and that, And it was fun at first. But then after a while of dating, you just kind of realize that this is just like any other type of person, right? So we had some pretty good times at first, okay? I'm not gonna lie. He kept me laughing. He kept me rolling. Even if we were watching a movie, he kept me laughing. I think the first movie we watched was called War of Worlds. That is a tongue twister, okay? And boy, we was to keep it 100 with you, we were smoking on a little greenery. The movie just seemed amplified. Everything just seemed so good. And he had a little mini bar at his house and whatever. And, we would just talk. We would really engage with one another, watch stuff, talk. Basically, that was it, But this is when I realized that this was not for me. And let me just say this. I will say that he is a comedian. He still is a comedian. But I think that sometimes some comedians might tell jokes to mask the pain that they're really going through. Because as I started dating him and spending more time with him, I realized that he was going through some things, And sometimes he would be like feeling in a good, happy mood. And then sometimes he was really going through hurt, with his children and with... I don't know if he was insecure, or like, say if he didn't do good on a show, he would really take it really, really bad. So it was just like he was just down in the dumps. And I'm like, I don't know about just sitting here feeling all this bad energy, you know what I'm saying? But when it is showtime, it is showtime. However you're feeling as a celebrity, you're getting paid and you're under contract to be a certain way, act a certain way, do a certain thing. And so when it's showtime, it's showtime. So to the average eye that's just coming from it for entertainment, you can't tell that this person is going through something. But on the inside, they being ate up until they feel comfortable enough and vulnerable enough to talk to you about what they're going through. And this person, he did. He started to open up to me more, okay, and talk to me. And I just thought that was pretty cool because I knew that when Showtime was going on, his fans and his followers and stuff like that, they didn't know that. So I felt like the lucky girl in the room at times, if you will. And some stuff he told me was actually pretty good, warning me about other people in the entertainment industry. And so I will appreciate him for that. But this is when I realized that I still wasn't dating the right man. So he called me over one day. I go to his house and he's showing me these tickets. And to be honest with you, I can't remember if it was basketball. I was going to say track or cross country. I can't remember if it was basketball or football. I don't know. I cannot remember. But it was some kind of game. And it was like, you know, you get the close seats and everything is VIP and all this and that. And he was really excited about it. Sports wasn't really my thing to go to and watch. But, you know, I was just like, oh, that's cool. You know, sit in VIP and chill. But he was wanting to talk to me because I was working, even though I was singing with different bands at the time and trying to get my career background singing off the ground, right? He was just trying to let me know that if I can go on tour with him, okay, for one of his shows, that I would have to make arrangements with my job and stuff like that. And so we talking, and I'm really reevaluating my life. I'm trying to calculate things like, how am I going to make this work? Because this job, they look for me to open up the door. I got the keys to, like, I got a lot of responsibility here. But on the other end, he's touring. Let's see what this is about. So I just let him start talking. If you see me looking down, looking at my notes, I just let him keep talking and talking and talking. So he tells me that when it's time for us to get into the limo, well, first of all, the flight was going to be paid for, but when it's time for us to get into the limo, I am not allowed to say anything in the limo at all. I could not talk to the other comedians. And I will say that this comedian that he said that would be in the limo, I just really can't see him doing that, you know, even though I've never met that person in real life. I just don't think that's in his character. But anyway, he told me that all of us girls in there could not talk. We couldn't talk to one another. We couldn't talk at all in there, you know. And I just was like, what? Clenching my pearls. That sounds like a pimp thing to me. So I'm going to be your trophy, right? I'm going to be on your arm. And I'm young, right? And it's going to be a couple other women in here. So y'all men are going to be doing all the talking, however long this trip is going to be in this limo. And we can't talk? Sounds like pimping, okay? So I was just like, So that really made me upset, y'all. That really made me upset. So he, you know, it was times when he would just talk to me like, I don't know, like he forgot who I was, like I was just beneath him, you know, and I didn't like that. It was some other things he had said too, but I was just like, that's, you know, forget it. So I move on. And around the time when he called me back, I had already moved on and got with my now husband. Well, guess who calls me back? Guess who calls me? Because I was trying to keep the same number. When I was in the industry, background singing, I had made some networking connections. So at first I wanted to keep my same number. And I felt like if I told a guy that, you know, I'm cool, I'm engaged, like nobody would call me no more. But every like 3 months, somebody else was calling, or the same person was calling, like, are you still with so-and-so? Are you still with so-and-so? So he, I would say he probably reached out to me maybe a good 2 or 3 times after that. And he was just like, it would be either text messages or calling like, could you please forgive me? Can you come to this event with me? Like another event. Can you come to this event with me? It's going to be big. It's going to be huge. And at this point, I'm looking like, why? You know? What, like, Is it for support? Like, do you need booties in the seat or something? You know, do you need, like, why do I need to be there? I was done with it. And I told him that I was in a relationship. Now, even though the event he wanted me to go to was, you know, friendly or whatever like that, I want to tell y'all something. Y'all got to be careful going backwards. If you're in a new relationship and you're in a monogamous relationship, you're trying to make this work, figure this new person out, don't start off by keeping secrets from this person. Okay? You need to give this new person the respect that you would want. You wouldn't want him going back to his ex and not even telling you, and they're going out here and there. Like, it's just disrespectful. And I realized that I could not keep the same number anymore. It was just becoming a big hassle. And I was like, you know what? Whatever's meant for me will be meant for me. When it's time, the person will, you know, if we're gonna meet back up and they want me to do something gig wise, then hey, if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. But for my own peace of mind, I'm tired of folks calling me, asking me, am I still with him? And I just want to be done with it. So, hey, that's what I had to do. I just want to tell y'all, like, protect yourself. Because if somebody is falling in love with you, which I knew that my husband was doing and I was falling for him, like, don't play with that. Especially ladies, don't do that. Okay? I'm talking specifically, I don't know who you are right now, who's watching, but I can feel the need to say to you, don't play with this man's emotions. Let me tell you something. There's a lot of women that get messed up, unalived, if you will, and going through all sorts of drama because they played with somebody's heart. Be straight up. And I mean, if you're not ready for a relationship, then just don't be ready. Don't get into one. But don't sit up here and make like you're trying to get married and be this, you know, this wife, this husband, and you ain't ready for that. You're not ready for commitment. You still want to see what she feel like, what he feel like. You're not ready. But people doing all kind of things these days, but I'm just telling you what worked for me. All right, so I want to run over a few points real quick. Never praise a celebrity because you will never really know them until you hang out with them. So that is true. They're getting paid. Every time you see a celebrity on the TV or on stage, you just paid them to perform the way that, you know, the way that they do. They do their signatures. They do some new stuff. You know, they do. If they're comedians, they're going to make you laugh. If they're, you know, singers, they're going to sound good to your ears. You know, whatever it is that they do. You just paid them to do that. Just like at your job. Let's say you're a cashier all day. Hey, welcome to Big Foods. How you doing today? All right, 10:59. Thank you. Oh, I'm doing good. You just broke it on the inside. I'm doing good today. Thank you. First of all, when your first break comes, you get to exhale a little bit. You get to go somewhere off. Like some of us like to go to break rooms. Some people like to go outside in their car. Some people like to go home, like, you know, for their little break and then come back. But whatever. All right. That's your first time to exhale. But when it's time to clock out, you go home, you let your hair down. Women, we take our bra off. We take everything off, throw it down, and just relax. This is the same thing. Okay. Now, some people really love the art and love what they do. But for some people, it's just a regular job, okay? Just whatever job they can get their hands on. But anyway, the point that I'm trying to make is that don't get their character or their alter ego that you pay for confused with who they really are. You might be, if you get a chance to date a celebrity, you might be starstruck at first. But all that stuff starts fading away quick. Star or not, don't sell yourself short. Don't devalue yourself because of somebody is a household name or because of how much money a person got, or the zip code they living in. Like, don't devalue yourself, because you are invaluable. Don't you know that Christ died on the cross for you? Just like he did for me, and just like he did for them. There's no respecter of persons, which is a scripture I'm going to get into later. But anyway, don't get it twisted. Now, I will say that going to one of his events, I met the singer Monica in person. And I had just got back from some auditions, and I didn't make it. And I'm going to say Monica is one of those celebrities that I feel like she's the same way on and off camera, okay? When she was talking to me about my career, and, you know, because I was told I was too big and all this other stuff, she was pretty upset about that. And she didn't care what name she brought up. She said what she said, and she said things that wasn't right. She felt like my big sister at the time, you know? And I wish I could remember more of what she said, because I was toe up that day. But I do remember her having my back and just being there and giving me some advice. And she even told her security they could, you know, they could chill, because her security, now don't just think you're going to run up on Monica. Her security is doing their job. But yeah, always, you know, have yourself presentable and ready to go. You never know when your opportunity might come, or when your chance to network or to ask genuine questions may come. So, you know, just always keep yourself sharp, you know. So, but anyway, she's one of those genuine ones. But most people, and I have met a lot of people in the industry just from me singing and working different events and things like that. And some of them are not what you think. But shout out to Monica. She's the same on and off camera. That's why I brought her up. Know your worth. Celebrity or not, I cannot stress that enough. Know your worth. All right. And I also want to say that by the time I had moved on, and he stopped calling me, right? And I was happy about that. But there would be different places that we would see each other, as we both, you know, were in the entertainment space. And so at that time, I had moved on. I got my now husband with me, right? But at that time, we went from friends to like engaged. But either way, I was in a committed relationship. So I wasn't getting ready to go back. So anytime I would see Mr. B-list in public at a function, he would give me this look like a sad puppy dog. Like, dang, I messed up. And he never did approach me, because he seen my husband was with me. Every time we bumped into each other, my husband was with me. So he never did approach me, but he gave me a look. And then let me tell you, it wasn't no creepy look. It wasn't no eerie look. It wasn't no, I'm mad, I want to do this and that. It wasn't like that. It was just like dang, you know. Because I always knew that I wanted to be a wife. I always knew I wanted to be in a monogamous relationship, be faithful. Like, I already knew what I wanted. But some folks don't. So when you know what you want and the other person don't know what they want, y'all gonna clash. And you know, nobody should want every single thing you want, but I mean, there should be some kind of differences. But yeah, it was just unequally yoked the whole time. So because he's got a lot of women, you know, screaming his name, and because his name is always, you know, being shot on the radio and all this and that, there's women who would flock to him. There's women who would give him anything he asked for on any given day. And then when he is performing, when you're dating somebody like that, like, you got to sit in the back and you got to let some groupies be groupies. I'm going to just say it like that. You got to let groupies be groupies, because it's all a part of the show. You know, it's like you go over there trying to check somebody, especially if this person don't really want you as bad as you want. You go over there trying to check somebody, and you're going to get checked. You're going to get looked at as the, you know, the bad guy. So you can dig into that a little bit more if you understand what I'm saying. But yeah, you got to be quiet. You got to sit there. You got to be, what they say, seen and not heard. Or you messing up their money. You messing up their checks. You messing up their opportunity. Just wasn't the life I wanted to live. Okay. In the book of Acts, Peter said that God is not a respecter of persons. So y'all pause this video. So pause it, come back, or get a pen, paper, whatever, and make sure you check out Acts 10, chapter 10, verse 34, where the Bible mentions about, God not being a respecter of persons. And it also says it in Romans 2. It mentions, and I'm paraphrasing, that God will deal with everybody, okay? Rather Jew or Gentile. And again, I'm paraphrasing that. He gonna deal with everybody. And it say he's gonna deal with the Jews first. So read that and tell me what that says to you. He gonna deal with everybody. And if you know God, like you know God, like you know you're supposed to know God, you're gonna be dealt with first. But he ain't gonna miss. He not gonna miss nobody. So if we're supposed to be more like the Lord, then we gotta study his behavior. We gotta study what he did and his examples. No, we are not God. We are not the God, right? But we are of God. We have to get to know him. So if he's not a respecter of persons, then we shouldn't be either, is basically what I'm saying. So you can check out those two. And, sometimes to get the full context, you have to read what's around it. Just like they taught us back in elementary, right? You have to read what's around it. So you can go ahead and read that whole, that whole chapter. Acts chapter 10 and Romans chapter 2. Read it. Familiarize yourself with it. But he's not a respecter of persons. That really ticks me off when I see people treat one person that looks a certain way or that has a certain type of accolade one way, but then they'll treat other people like a piece of gum underneath their tennis shoe or something like that. I just don't like that. I never have. I never will. And if I ever seen somebody do that, it just disgusts me every time. I just don't like when people do that. But if I could give you any type of message, if you didn't catch on to anything else I said today, if I could leave you with something, I would say to know your worth. No matter who you with, where they are from, what they have, and what they don't have. Don't devalue yourself. And this is why you can't be jealous of the woman that's dating a celebrity and she's got the Birkin bags and she's got several cars, and every time you see her on Instagram, she just looks so poised and so, oh my gosh, vacations here and there. Like, don't covet that, because you don't know what she's going through behind closed doors. Now, for my churchgoers, I'll give you an example. The first lady of a church. And there's some great first ladies out there, by the way. They go through a lot. There is some women out there that know good and doggone well they don't have no business being up in pastor's face the way that they do. But they'll try. They'll try them anyway. What, is the first lady a threat to you? I don't know. It's sick. I can't even get in the mind of them type of women. All this fish in the sea, and you want to date somebody that's already taken. I think some people just get off on that, like control or something. I don't know. So, you are invaluable. If you don't know what that means, look it up. But there's no price tag that can go on you. All right? So, if meeting and being with a highly successful, well-known person is in your path to destiny, I just want to say to treat them just like you would anybody else. Seriously. Don't get caught up of the cameras, of the glitz and glamour, and of the life. But I want you to take that, whoever you meet, take that back to God first. Tell him to give you wisdom. You don't want to be hurt no more like you used to. You don't want to make choices on your own. Like, you want some direction. You need some help. Because see, your girlfriends might tell you, girl, you might want to, you might want to lock that in. That's not always the right voice. You need God to tell you for real, like, to give you confirmation is what you need. Then I want you to date. Get time to know this person. I want you to listen. I tried to make my ears do like Mike Lowry's, but it won't. My ears are too small. But take out time to know this person, but listening is very important. You don't want to just talk. You want to also listen. And then you want to make sure that that person is also showing some reciprocity and listening to you as well. See how they act around people. See how they act in public, in private, everywhere. Don't rush it. Don't think like, oh man, if I don't do this with this person tonight, they probably gonna drop me like a bad habit, and another girl, the next girl gonna come and get that, and I can't have that. That shouldn't even be your MO. Because it may look like everything is all together now, but that stuff that they got, that they have today, can be gone like that. What is a natural disaster? Let that sink in. Ain't nothing on this earth promised besides God's return. So anyway, I love you all. And y'all make sure y'all go ahead and cop the book, Fed Up, Changed Up, Now What, by Gregory and Teaira Curry. If you guys would like to read along, read ahead. Next week is one of the main reasons that I wrote the book, the first half of the book. It was one of the main reasons why that I felt like I had to write it. So some of you have heard the story before, some of you have not. But make sure that you are tuning in next week. It's going to get very real, very vulnerable. And remember earlier when I was talking about earlier, you know, every guy did me the way I saw myself, except for one guy actually just took something from me. Well, that's what we're going to be talking about next week. All right. So it is not until you are truly fed up that you will change up. But after you've changed up, then what? We'll see you next time with more inspiration. Peace.